bringing you inside the USL Championship and League One.
Segmer's got there, Marquinhos! He's been knocking on the door! He knocks it down!
Diving into all the biggest stories and top headlines.
You are ripping and roaring today.
This is USL All Access.
It's almost impossible to recreate that level of magic.
With Mike Watts and Devon Kerr on Sirius XM FC.
Welcome, everyone. It's USL All Access on this Tuesday evening. There is a ton to cover this week as Decision Day around the championship comes up this Saturday. We've also got a pretty big piece of news that is, we're talking about one of the all-time greats in the league coming on the show within the next half hour. Rodrigo Lopez from Sacramento. Brooklyn's got a GM. Reno's back, baby, and so much more. Mike Watts, Devon Kerr, Emmett McConnell's at the controls.
Yeah, Devon McCurr, indeed. That's how we're starting here.
Close enough. Most players would probably say this is an adequate way of describing how I handle pronunciations. Devon, let's get at it, man.
I'm ready, buddy. Nice to see you. Bring it to me.
Likewise. Dev, let's start with, I guess, the biggest piece of news. If you've been living under a rock, you're probably still aware of what Rodrigo Lopez has meant to the championship over the course of the last 10-plus years. You're talking about a guy who's the 61st. I'm surprised by that in total appearances until you realize he left to go play in the Mexican First Division in the middle of his championship run and then came back. You're talking about a guy who's top 50 in goals. He's fourth in assists. He's got over 100 goal contributions. Devon, Rodrigo Lopez is on everybody's Mount Rushmore.
It's like the Jordan disappearance to baseball, except he played the same sport in another country. Someone consider it a different sport when you go play in Liga MX. Donning the attack kit from Sacramento Republic, I am honoring Roro Lopez and his commitment to this league and Sacramento throughout the entire show. Different kits, different tops, you'll see. Listen, servant of the people, an amazing player, which I'll get to in a second. But as we know, Mike, like an incredible human being, what he's dealt with off the field, that he's been kind enough, I guess is probably the best way to say it, with his family, the journey. He's opened up to a lot of different areas about what has gone on. He's one of only 4 players to hit 30 goals and 30 assists for a single club. The other 3, Solomon Asante, Leo Fernandez, and, of course, Enzo Martinez when he was with the Charlotte Independents. The guy can really do no wrong. He's played nearly every position within the midfield and on the front line, always willing to do the dirty work off the ball, always leading by example. The miracle at Bonnie, all the way to the Open Cup final in 2022, falling just short against Orlando City. And it's interesting, the mental side of the effect that they're hoping that this is going to have in the run into the postseason this year. What a way it would be to cap a career, putting another star above the crest. And you wonder what sort of pressure comes along with it, given the fact that this is the last run we are ever going to have from Rodrigo Lopez. But starting in 11, it would be really difficult to remove him from your team. And at least if you did a full 18, he's guaranteed to be on that roster.
Yeah, Devon, the expectation is this will be his last rodeo with Sacramento Republic in the championship. There is expectation, though, he'll stick around.
Staying with the organization and being sort of a liaison between the youth academy path to pro ranks. Hard to argue there's anybody better in the championship, certainly no one better in Sacramento Republic history, to go through and lay the pathway for young people. He's already got his own little academy on the outside, R8, doing wondrous things. I can't wait to see what it looks like after the game. Selfishly, I don't care about that right now, and I say that with all due respect because he would be the first one to tell you, and he's gonna, when he comes on in a few minutes' time, to say, I've still got a job to do. Sacramento Republic and we're going all the way. That's what their ambition is right now.
Yep. If you are in the car and you're going to miss it, you can catch it on the SiriusXM app tomorrow. You can see the full interview on the USL YouTube page. Rodrigo Lopez joining us here as he prepares to announce the conclusion of his playing career. All right, Dev, let's turn to a already retired national team legend who's been around U.S. soccer forever and is jumping in as the new GM for Brooklyn FC ahead of their debut next year, Brian McBride. I did see a lot of people going, whoa, you're making this decision now? It's October, and the season starts in March. The only 2 things I'm going to add to that off the bat. They already have a Super League team, so there's an operational structure in place for a team that already plays. It's different, don't get me wrong, but there is an element of this isn't completely from scratch as an organization. Then as it pertains to the actual team building, which is going to be his biggest responsibility off the bat, and finding a coach for that matter. Put really simply, Las Vegas just did this and made the playoffs a year and a half ago. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm just saying the nature and fluctuation of rosters is such that Brian is going to have to really tap all avenues, but there is a path where they're going to have a team ready in March that can compete from the jump.
Understanding if you go back to the fall of 22, spring of 23, and I'm not saying it's the exact same thing. Lee Cohen was hired late in the fall of 2022, brought Ben Pierman in. It's different. I get it. Pre-existing team. If you want to call the 2022 Charleston Battery that, one of the worst seasons we've ever seen out of the Charleston Battery in history, their worst ever. But still starting from scratch. I do sort of wonder, and I want to be very, very clear, I'm not laying breadcrumbs. We've seen things delayed before. We've talked about it recently this year on the announcement for promotion and relegation that the target was 2027, could be 2028. Paul McDonough himself came out later and said, you know what, 2028 is probably a more hittable target. I'm not saying Brooklyn's not going to be there, but it could also be the reverse side of things and saying, you know what, we're not ready. But now we've got an even longer runway to go get a coach and the person that we think should take us there. The hire itself overall is interesting. Brian McBride, former general manager, United States men's national team. Greg Berhalter was there. Ernie Stewart brought him in. Feel what you want about that time frame. There was growth in American soccer. I'm interested to see what sort of involvement he has, if any. I would imagine there's some, given the lack of representation in the front office, on roster build. And what that looks like. That's my biggest question here. Exactly what sort of person are you bringing in to lead the team, and how much involvement are you going to have? He doesn't have a ton in that area.
Great points. All of them.
Thank you very much, Michael, as always.
All right, Brian. Good luck with Brooklyn. Looking forward to seeing what you put together, and look forward to having you on the show at some point if you're so inclined in lowering your standards. Before we go to break, Dev, Reno. Not 1868, just straight up Reno Pro Soccer. Awarded a USL franchise. Las Vegas took a hilarious pot shot.
Who lowers the standard more, you or I?
I mean,
just got to know.
Yeah.
But we're a joint package?
A little bit.
Coleslaw and sour cream, both of which are bad in your eyes and both of which bring it down. Doesn't matter which one carries more weight.
Yeah, no, we are.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
The grossness of the food. Las Vegas taking pot shot at a non-existent Reno club is hilarious because Las Vegas hasn't gotten a whole heck of a lot right over the course of the last decade, which is of no issue with the ownership that's currently there. This is my own pot shot at the past, but for them to be like, oh, the fifth Reno iteration, it's like, guys, give it a minute. I'm not so sure you guys weren't halfway down the toilet not too long ago. Anywho, bigger point. The stadium looks amazing, and that's one thing Reno's never had. They've never given themselves a shot with a venue that was meant for them, and that in and of itself excites me.
I would take it a step further, not just a venue in itself for them. They've never had their own identity. Friendly reminder for everybody that is quick to forget or was outside the USL hemisphere prior, their affiliation with San Jose, right? Like this was... when Ian Russell was there, and dear Lord, what I would pay for him to be in charge of this club. That would be awesome. What unreal what they did. When Ian Russell was there, the caveat for him, and we had tons of conversations, was always, man, I can't wait to get my own team to impose my own ideas. Countless conversations with him after the fact when he's gone in MLS and been an assistant. Multiple stops have been what I would do to get my hands on a team, take everything that I've learned and give back. And not just taking other people's ideas of how I have to play, and instead opening up his book, evolving and going, I've got all these tricks in the trade. Now I'm going to play the way that I want to play. That's the hope, right? I mean, we're not that far off from Christmas. They're a couple of years away. Is Ian Russell coming back to Reno, Mike?
I would love to see it. I also just want to give this little piece of I'm just going to lay a breadcrumb here. 2020, if the season did not reach the final, there were a lot of whispers that they would name the champion as the regular season winner.
Reno.
And we never played a final. Devin says we did. We didn't. Ultimately, they just had an East champ and a West champ, and they called it with Phoenix and Tampa Bay.
If we didn't play a final, who is on that right there? You can't see it in the camera. Oh, it's off. I will read it for you. 2020 USL Playoff Championship Final, November 1st, 2020. Phoenix Rising versus the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Yeah, except it didn't happen.
Michael. It happened.
Point being, Reno is as much a champion as anyone, and Ian Russell ran that thing like a Swiss watch. All right.
Ready? Real quick, piece of trivia, and then I know we got to go. When we left and all of this was canceled and we had to go and they announced it to the world, who was my first phone call while driving back home across the state?
Taylor Twellman. I'm kidding. He was the one who...
Good answer. No, it was one John Hackworth, then in charge of Louisville City. Saw my man this weekend. He sends his love to everybody in the championship.
Oh, miss you, Hack. All right. When we come back, we've got Rodrigo Lopez joining us later in the show. We are going to rip through everything going on in the East and the West. There's still spots open. We're going to explain it all when we come back.
Let's get back to USL All Access on Sirius XM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Welcome back, everybody. USL All Access. I'm still in the same shirt. Devon is not. Looking good, but I question the two colors of red. Red is a good color on you.
I didn't make it.
It's not about
nice,
you.
Though. It breathes well. Let's go.
It does. All right, Dev, let's chat about what's going on in the playoff picture. Saturday, almost all the games this week. There is still one on Wednesday. We'll get to that in a minute. As it pertains to the East, Detroit with a draw against Charleston tees us up for a pretty hilarious conclusion for the 8th seed.
The Lee Cohen Bowl.
Indeed. Only the third team to take something out of Patriots Point all season. Well done, Detroit, right? Charleston undefeated since the loss to Louisville. They finished the 2 seed. That was obvious. Myers in the 65th. A minute later, it's Diouf. Dev, did you see the Sunboy pitch invader at halftime?
I thought it was hilarious. It was staged, but it was awesome.
I refuse to say it was staged. That coconut had cake.
Well, was that coconut. People actually chasing him down?
Of course it was.
It
was. He's going to the clink. He's still in the clink. No one bailed him out. Devastating.
Where would the clink be at Patriots Point? On the roof next to us where we call the final from?
I wouldn't let a coconut out in the open air like that. It would probably be in that beautiful film room they have.
What's the ketchup dude's name again?
I can't remember.
Down at the end, someone at home. It's the Liga MX guy from Mexican.
Yeah,
television.
I know.
These are the things that I lay awake at night pondering when I can't sleep.
I can't believe we wasted a minute on this.
Let's go.
All right, elsewhere. At the same time, the Rowdies hold on for a 3-2 win against Hartford at home. There's a lot that goes into this. Arteaga scores early, Wubens in the 25th, and Galena in the 45-plus second. Alex Mendez ends up scoring what turns out to be the winner because Galena scored again in stoppage time. Hartford's 4-match win streak, including the Jaeger Cup, ends. Tampa Bay remains in the hunt. They are 3 wins, 3 draws in their last 7. And then there's Indy. Bruno Rendon saving their season with a brace, 2-1 over Loudoun. And here we go. This is where it all pops open. Indy, 4 wins in their last 8, 4 losses, but the no draws keeps them around. The playoff picture is a little bit wild. It is rather simple to an extent. Detroit wins.
Rather simple. Hold my beer. Let me take this shot, and then I'll go.
Detroit wins, they're in. Right? Simple. Detroit loses to Tampa Bay. They pull level at 36. Then it turns to Indy out on the West Coast. They play the last game, 10 p.m. against Orange County. Indy wins that game. Indy is in if Detroit loses to Tampa Bay. If Indy draws and the 3 of them all end up on 36,
Let's go.
Tampa Bay gets in over Indy and Detroit from 10th place into the playoffs on tiebreakers. Wait a minute. If Tampa Bay wins and Indy loses, I can't remember what happens. Tampa Bay is in over Detroit.
Okay. Dear Lord. Thank God you wrote it down.
on head-to-head.
All right. So
All
first,
three of them could get in.
okay. So first off, got to tip my cap to Aiden Quinn. What an assist, by the way, on the opener, on the weekend. Hit 60 assists. Second player in the history of USL Championship to hit 60 assists. He's behind he's second all time, 6 behind King Kenny, retired, doing wondrous things. Can't wait to see him as a head coach. Aiden Quinn is the best passer of the ball this league has ever seen. I need to get that out of the way. I'm not saying distributor. I'm saying passer. The way he shapes it, what he can do, his vision, the creativity, he's the best. Indy is so inconsistent, and they can't defend for you-know-what, which leads me to my next victim, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who can attack with the best of them. I love the identity. They can open up left and right. Mendez's strike that he hit from the other side of the stadium is still ripping through that net, kiss of death off the post. They can't defend for you-know-what. They give up the ugliest goals I have ever seen, and I'm sure Dom Casciato is sick to his stomach thinking about it. And it got me to thinking about the body of work under Dom and giving them more respect for what has been. They're 6-4 since he arrived, okay? Apologies. Got to back up here. There we go. 6-4 since he arrived. Great. Not the greatest, 1.38, but not bad. Hartford, since the start of July, has only lost 4 games in all competitions. It's a stretch of 21 matches. Rowdies beat him twice. That's something impressive, by the way. Very, very impressive. And then as a body of work as a whole, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and the Charleston Battery are the only teams in the East, because obviously you play twice, that have swept Hartford Athletic this season. Hartford, under Dom, have played 13 of 16 matches against teams currently above the playoff line. Dear Lord. I mean, what a freaking run that they have had to face, Mike. 13 of 16. I had to write all of this down, by the way, because that's how crazy it was. They're 3-6-4. They are perfect in the other 3 matches on teams below the playoff line. They have only 1 shutout in their last 7. They've only been shut out once in their last 7, which gets me to the defensive side where how poor it is. And I started to run down, wow, they were 2-9-2, 0.61 prior to Dom Casciato's arrival. If that's the case, all they had to do, Tampa Bay Rowdies, out of those 13 games was win 2. 2 out of the other 11 that they didn't win. 2 wins right now, and they would already be in postseason play. And the reason I say all of this to you is they've still found a way to get here, and they've still been able to turn things around. And while they can't defend for you-know-what, they can attack with the best of them, and it is going to be a very open, attack-minded game in the last match of the season because they are going to grip it and rip it, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and you know for a fact that their opponent is not going to back off of this game. There is a ton of pride, and from a coaching standpoint, neither is going to let their team enter postseason play going, what if? That's going to be an insane match on the weekend.
Yep. Rowdies Detroit in St. Pete on Saturday. And we'll give you the full rundown of decision day games and what matters and what doesn't a little bit later. Awesome. So 8 seed wide open. The other 7 are done. Here's why. North Carolina 0-0 draw against Rhode Island. Rhode Island is in. They are now 6 games unbeaten, 4 wins, 2 draws in that span. The Eastern Conference reigning champion is back. North Carolina 4 winless, all against teams on the bottom half of the table. So you're talking 7 and below in either conference. Kind of wild.
I'm shocked by that, by the way. Good for
them. Pittsburgh, they continue their good run of form. 3-0 win against Monterey Bay. You had to go on the road. Bob Lilly's still away. Got it done. Suber, Augie,
that's a way to phrase it.
Yep. Pittsburgh 5-2-0 in their last 7. If you looked at the schedule at the beginning, you would have said, hey, this is where they're going to make their money. Oakland, Hartford, Las Vegas, Indy, Monterey Bay. If you wanted to make a point, you made your point. And now
ironically enough, there was the stretch hitting in July. Bob Lilly talked about this, and I get it. He's not there right now. But he did say that the home stretch set up perfectly for them based upon opponent and location. They've knocked it out of the park to that point.
Yep.
I also really think that Charles All has played quite well down the stretch.
He has.
As much as they've missed the goal production overall from Augie Williams, because they haven't gotten enough out of him this season. We've maintained the entirety of the time that he's not the right fit for that system, and probably the exact opposite of what they need in terms of coach and player relation, right? Augustine Williams, nine goals on the season. I love the fact that he's parked 4 in his last 7 matches. That's great. But that's also a player, Mike, that should be between 15 and 20. Fair enough?
Sure.
His goal production long-term, and I love him as a player, his goal production long-term is because he's been in the league for so long, started as a child, now he's here.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Awesome. Pittsburgh moves into 4th. Right now they're in a home playoff position. They can seal it with Phoenix on the weekend. We'll explain later. All right. Miami, Birmingham. Devin, you said you didn't want any part of this, so I'm just going to say it. They finished head-to-head in the regular season. A couple, 3-2, 2-1. All right. 28 shots, 5 goals in this. Bonfilio scores again. They are level on points for the East Wooden Spoon, but Las Vegas 1 point beneath them both for the league Wooden Spoon. There's something to watch on the last day. All right, let's hit the Western Conference because there's a ton to cover here. Orange County played twice last week, right? They had the Jaeger whatever.
Reboot.
Yeah, all right.
Rerun?
Sure. Orange County. Dev, you texted me as soon as the game went final. San Antonio 1-0. They had to have it. Scylla returns 90+2 winner.
Unreal, man. Getting him healthy. You know, I think if you go back statistically and look at that run for Usman Scylla, it was like a goal and assist in a 4-game stretch. Dude, he was unmarkable. He created for everyone. He's exactly what this team needs. Going back to when they brought Kelly in, you and I had the discussion of needing that stepping stone in the midfield, getting onto the front line. They didn't have it. He is the guy. Like, that kid has enough talent. I'm not kidding you. He's got enough talent to be MVP in this league. That's how good he is when healthy and playing with confidence. The problem is he went to the places where dreams go to die in MLS as a draftee with the Houston Dynamo. They don't play young kids. Steven Norjomfi, another one from UVA. They parked him in the back. He gets lost in MLS Next Pro. He destroyed that league as well. His development stumps. He gets hurt here, yada, yada. Danny Stone loves him, and I love him too. And he deserved the goal. Orange County needed the goal, and he's at least set him up for a quality run-in. I'm excited to see where that kid goes moving forward, assuming Orange County retain his services. I've heard some stuff behind the scenes that he could be going elsewhere.
Okay.
Just saying. Those are breadcrumbs, by the way.
Well done.
Thank you.
Then on the weekend, Orange County got another point, a 0-0 draw against Louisville City. They stay in the fight for the 8 in the West. 4 unbeaten for Orange County. Worth noting, Pedro Guimaraes called up to the U.S. Youth National Team for the World Cup. Probably not back until November 22nd if they're still there. Partida's back as well. Elsewhere in that fight, Phoenix take a 6-pointer over San Antonio. So San Antonio held to just 5 shots. Charlie Dennis in the 11th. Phoenix 5-game streak of draws obfuscates like that a stretch of 1 loss since August 16th. 3 wins, 1 loss, 6 draws over 10 games. They could finish 4th on the tiebreaker. Tiebreaker number 5. With El Paso drawing and Phoenix winning, you would be tied head-to-head. Then you go to West opponents, tied on 33 points between the two. League goal difference, Phoenix would need to beat Pittsburgh by 5. Last Pittsburgh loss by 5 goals was the second year under Bob Lilly, 2019 at North Carolina.
5-0, dear Lord. How is it that we live in a world where you can finish in the top 4, but also possibly miss the playoffs?
We'll get to the missing playoff scenario here in a minute. It's pretty
Can
wild.
You please, just for everybody at home, say the name of what the Western Conference is?
The Great Western Pillow Fight.
I love it.
And here's why. Because San Antonio, on the converse, 4-game losing streak, all against West playoff opponents.
Hitting the form at the right time.
Get there. Colorado Springs, Tulsa, Orange County, Phoenix. 2 wins since mid-July. San Antonio genuinely just allowed everyone a chance to pass them.
I'm sorry. It's It's like the old meme from Arsene Wenger towards the tail end of his career at Arsenal, where he was like doing this thing where giving you that side eye look, pointing to the head, and it said, "Can't lose the dressing room if you sell all the players."
All right, time is short. If we're going to get to Roro, time is short. Here we go.
Let's
Sacramento get a point late, 2-goal comeback at Lexington. Those late woes bite Lexington SC again. That was on Friday. Burke and Epps early, Pirano and Herrera late. Lexington ends a 3-match losing skid, but could have had 3 valuable points. Sacramento, 5 goals conceded in the last 2 games. They'd allow 5 the last 7. 1 win in 4 in the league, but they also just dealt with the Jaeger Cup final and the run into that. They can get focused this week. El Paso seeds the late equalizer against Tulsa. They still get in, however, with a 5-game unbeaten run to get back to the postseason under Wilmer Cabrera. Switchbacks. They got the must win against Las Vegas on short rest. Fjellberg scores in the 54th. Switchbacks 2 wins in 3, San Antonio and Vegas. They continuously say they feel they're playing better than the results have shown of late. And then Sunday, New Mexico, 3-3 draw against Oakland. They benefit from an own goal and a penalty to go up 3-1 in the first half hour, Dev. But Peter Wilson scores 2 first-half penalties, meaning we had 3 first-half penalties in this game. And then Gagi, I could say the name, but I'm not going to.
His last name.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Steals a Roots point in the 82nd minute. New Mexico 6 unbeaten, wins against Switchbacks, Lexington, Phoenix. Oakland fall out of playoff contention last week. 8-game winless run, 1 win in 12. Anything to add?
Yeah, Wilson on an unreal run right now, 14 goals in 12 games. Nicholas Murray, God love him, USL Championship guru, deep in the vault of all the tie-breaking scenarios that we didn't mention because there's about 5,000 more on what could happen in the East and seedings and the Western Conference where nobody wants to stand up. Please stand up. I love my postseason tag there. Dom Dwyer put up 15 goals in 13 games for Orlando City back in 2013. Just food for thought on what kind of run Wilson is on for the Oakland Roots, regardless of what has gone on the rest of the season in the Western Conference for them and the fact that they're going to be on the outside looking in. Also, Charlie Dennis, shout out to him in Phoenix. He's been on an unreal tear. Guy's playing with a lot of aggression right now. Love the vision that he's had. Really tough mentally, feeds right into that Pa Modukas system. Real integral piece for them down the stretch to at least give them a shot at top 4. Definitely a shot at playoffs. And for some reason, a shot at no playoffs whatsoever. Someone can figure that out somewhere who knows math better than I.
We're about to. All right, when we come back, Rodrigo Lopez, set to step away as a player from Sacramento. In his own words, joins us after this.
Giving insight to all the biggest moments in Championship and League One. This is USL All Access on Sirius XM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Welcome back, everybody, to USL All Access special edition, special segment for a special person. Said we had news. We talked about it in segment 1, the announcement for the end of the season of the intent by Rodrigo Roro Lopez to retire from professional football. A lot of times I go for the glitz, the glamour. I give crazy intros for people, deservedly so, based upon stats. I want to take from Sacramento Republic's press release and read it because I find it so eloquent as it describes a player and a human, most importantly. After 2 decades defined by passion, loyalty, and unforgettable moments, Republic FC's captain and first ever signing, Rodrigo Roro Lopez, has announced that he will retire at the conclusion of the 2025 USL Championship season. The man who ignited professional soccer in Sacramento will hang up his boots, leaving behind a legacy that helped shape a club, inspire a city, and define an era. Not sure anybody could write it better. Certainly, someone could always say it better than I. Pleasure to announce that we have Rodrigo Lopez joining us, a great person, an incredible player, and honored to call him a friend. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing well, my man. It's been a hard week, to say the least, but I'm truly happy right now to be able to announce it and finally get it out, and hopefully I still have a couple weeks left in my tank.
Not just hoping. We all hope the same thing, given the product that you put out, and certainly your teammates and what Neil Collins have brought over the course of this season. We'll get to that in a second. I'm sure everybody's question is going to be, since the news just came out, it's very fresh. You told your teammates and the staff earlier today. Why now? Why is this the right decision for you and your family moving forward?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple factors. I took a lot of pride in coming back last season from a big injury. I made a promise to my son. I honestly didn't know if I wanted to play anymore, and I made a promise to Roman that I would come back and he would watch me play. And I took it with pride. I knew I had to work hard. I don't think I had a single day off this last off season. Like, I was doing double days, triple days, putting in all the work that I could just to come back, and not just come back, but make an impact. And, having the season that the teams had this year and that I personally have had, I felt like this was the right time. It was the right time. Obviously the season's not over. We have a couple weeks left, hopefully. And, also, I wanted to do it with the team that gave me a lot, with the club that has given me so many things, who gave me a second chance in my career. Coming here, winning a championship just took my career to different stages. It opened up so many doors, and, I'm very grateful for that. And now, obviously, coming into a new journey, a new chapter in my life, I'm fortunate as well to be able to stay in this club and have the opportunity to stay here and work for amazing people and be surrounded by people who have always, cared about me and taken care of me. So that made my decision a lot easier.
Roro, I think it's easy for you, people at home who, like myself, continue to watch you, amazed at what you can do with the ball at your feet, regardless of age or current condition. And that's not a knock. You're just older, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's easy for people who have been in the game and recognize the passion and the intensity that comes along with it, the pride of wearing the badge for a club, especially for such a long period of time, second stint or not. People at home who haven't put their boots on in such a fashion, who haven't played the sport at the level that you've been, who maybe even haven't played the sport at all but still watch it. Why is it so important for you to finish at Sacramento, especially considering over a 22-year span, you've been at a bunch of very storied clubs, but this one holds a special place? Why stop here?
Yeah, I've always said my career was, it's kind of a career of two stories. You know, the first half of my career, I felt um like I took a lot of things for granted. I was always very, very technical, very you know, I always had everything to be a good player. I had the talent. I just never put in the work. I always felt like my talent would take me to new heights, different places, and quite frankly, it didn't. And prior to coming to Sacramento, I was working construction. I was close to retiring. I had just had Roman, and Sacramento came knocking to the door, and the pitch they had to me is, look, we have amazing fans. This is truly a soccer city. Give us a chance, give it a year, see what happens. And obviously, consulting it with my family, with my wife, my kids, or Roman at that time was a baby, but my wife and my parents, we knew that this was my last opportunity to continue my dream. So from the day I stepped in Sacramento, the love and the passion that I felt, as soon as I landed was I knew in my heart there was something special in this city. And I knew that I'd fall in love with this place, from that day. From the press conference of my announcing to our first game at Hughes Stadium, 22,000 fans. I knew something special was coming. And obviously that year, 2014, ended with the championship. And again, Sacramento opened up so many doors. I was able fulfill my dream to go play, first division in Mexico. And obviously, once that started to die down in Mexico, I always wanted to come back to one place, and that was Sacramento. I, we had some incredible memories these last 4 years. 2 cup finals. And now obviously we're in the playoffs this time around. And I just felt like it was time. It was time. My family and I knew how much time and effort and sacrifices we've made. They knew, sometimes it would get a little hard for me to wake up every day and go out to training. Not that I didn't always give it my all. That's not a question. Every day I woke up and somehow found a way to push through it, and to still be that leader and motivate guys and push guys hard to obviously be in the situation that we are now. So that, all those things made a difference, but I truly felt like my career and my family could tell you as well. We knew that my career had to end here in Sacramento.
Just to give everybody an idea, the time frame that he's talking about, coming up through Chivas's youth system, experiencing the first team. You were 26 years of age when that opportunity was put in front of you. You're not 26 anymore. I mean, incredible to turn things around. You were basically 10 years into your career. What did you do after the fact? We'll end up playing nearly another 12. Within that run, you mentioned the 2 finals. I have to look down right now because of the list of accomplishments, which is pretty insane. 7 seasons in Sacramento in total, 167 appearances, 45 goals, and first in assists with 48. The miracle at Bonnie, which ended up leading to that 2014 title with Sacramento Republic, the only team in the history of the championship in the modern era to win a title in its inaugural season. The Open Cup final of 22, you mentioned. The Jaeger Cup final just recently against Hartford Athletic. There is the All-League honors. There is 2022. Not only did your team make it to the final, the goals and assists, where the Cup.us voted you player of the tournament, the only player ever as a lower division player to be given such a distinct honor. There are a lot of individual accolades, team and individual moments throughout this career that has spanned 22 magnificent seasons. Is there anything that sticks out to you, win, lose, draw, trophy or not, that maybe carries a little bit more weight of what was or what could have been?
No, I mean, for me, this last, 2 weeks ago against Hartford, was a moment that I was devastated, not just devastated for me, but for this club, for my teammates, for the coaching staff. Obviously, we've worked so hard throughout the season to get to that instance, to get to the final, and we came up short. But we have an opportunity to go and win one now, and I'm very fortunate to have been here the 2014 and win that title. And I told my teammates today when I announced that I was retiring that winning championships opens a lot of doors. It changes your careers. It changes everything. And we have a good opportunity to do it this year. So right now, yeah, I've announced that I'm retiring, but now I just have to focus on these next 2 games, league games, to close out the league well and secure that second spot. And obviously from there, we have 4 finals to worry about. But I'm excited for what's next. I'm living day to day. Who knows when my last game will be? Hopefully it's in a month and 5 weeks, but I'm just excited for this end of the season.
You talk about what's next. Before we get to the next 2 matches, of course, you have Charleston Battery tomorrow. You will host them 10 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern, and then a game on the weekend before postseason play, which is assured, and you're going to be able to host at home. You talk about what's next. You're not leaving the club. You're going to transition into a player development role. Your club's words in the press release that say Bridging Republic's Youth Academy and first team beginning in the 2026 season. So that's going to be an immediate transition. For people that don't know, and we talked about it earlier on the show, you've got your own academy with young kids in R8. You're already doing the work there. Can you maybe describe what is the difference between what takes place in the R8 Academy currently and the role that you will be stepping into next season for Sac Republic?
Yeah, I started my R8 Academy maybe a year and a half ago. And that's just for players anywhere from 6 to 12 years old. I have older players that I work with, but that's just to complement trainings from, after they go to their clubs, or if they need extra training, that's all I do for them. I'm working with the El Gros Charter School as well. I have a program in the mornings for kids who do homeschool and hybrid school system. We train them in the mornings 4 days a week. But that's just a little different. I think this new role with Sacramento is very intriguing. It really motivates me, to be honest, because I've loved working with kids the last few years, and I've obviously worked with my son all the time, but it's not the same. It's not the same. My son Roman, doesn't come out happy when he trains with me. So now I'm able to push other kids, and it's fun, but working with Roman to me is like the best moments ever, being with him on a soccer field reminds me of when I was with my dad when I was younger, so I hope that he cherishes his moments, um, but with Sacramento, working with being in the locker room with some of these young players coming up, I tell Blake all the time, when I was your age, I was definitely not that good, and to see so much talent in this area in Sacramento and our academy that's done phenomenal, Eder Quintanilla is our academy director. He's done a phenomenal job there. And just to be able to be that bridge and that connection between the two, the academy and the first team, it really motivates me to see what I could do in that position, and see how much I could influence in them becoming pros.
I call BS, by the way, when you take the talent comparison between you and Blake. I find a hard time believing that. But that's fine. I mean, you're always humble. You're always humble. I'm okay with that.
No, Blake, our young players on the team are amazing, like
Yeah.
Davion, man. I can't remember what I was doing at 15, but I definitely wasn't playing as well as he is. I didn't have the talent that he did. And, like Chibi and Blake on the national team, I could kind of relate to them because, when I was their age, I was on the national team as well. And it was always great, to go to those camps and to feel like you're one of the best players in the country. But now, the game has grown so much. There's players everywhere. It's so much harder to become a pro nowadays, and yeah, there's more resources nowadays. But to become an actual pro, it takes so much work, so much dedication and discipline, and obviously talent.
Rower, let's bring everybody up to speed. I gave a little preview earlier. Charleston Battery match tomorrow night. Then
Yeah.
on the weekend, you're hosting Miami. They're in a battle for supremacy, we'll say, at the bottom of the Eastern Conference and possibly the worst record in regular season this year. As I joke about it, you said you've got a lot there, right? You guys have a ton of talent. Neil Collins certainly has had his pulse on the league for quite some time, first in the East and in the West. Take me through the group and tell me why, as you mentioned, 4 finals. Once you get into postseason play, you're talking about, regardless of where you finish, 4 games, put a star above the crest. Why does this group have the opportunity, because of what's in that locker room, to go and accomplish such a feat?
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Neil about this a couple of days ago, but you know, there's been different situations in our season where, we've been questioned early in the season. We were questioned about letting late goals in, that was the problem that we were having, and we fixed that. Then later on, we were having the problem of not being able to come back from behind. And we've done that the last few games. So, we've been able to fix all of this, credit to our coaching staff and obviously to the players that, come out every day and and want to get better and want to improve. And we have such a good core group of leaders on the team that push everyone every day. And another edge, I feel like, we've been in the situation now, played a final against Hartford not too long ago, which to me, credit to Hartford, but I feel like that game should have ended in a tie. We go to PKs and see what happens, but that's just how the game goes. They took advantage of their opportunity, and, now we have that. We were able to watch them celebrate on our field, and that was Seeing some of the guys' faces on our team, was a little bit sad, but then the next day they were already working. You could tell there was a hunger, that you could tell there was, some revenge in their face and wanting to be in that situation again. So I feel like we have that experience now. We've experienced it, and I feel like we're going to take that into the playoffs.
For the record, at the beginning of the season, I said that I thought you all would have the best regular season in 2025. I'm not asking for much. I consider myself selfless. Certainly, I have 3 boys, 5, 3, and 2, that run me all over, and I take care of them all the time, as well as my beautiful wife. I will say that you being kind enough to share information with us, we then in turn were kind enough to not only roll out the red carpet. I pulled out all the stops in terms of the fashion attire, got the tux on, the bow tie. If you want, red carpet's out. Feel free, to go ahead. Maybe it's not the best regular season record, but if you want to just leave a lasting image as if you haven't done in the league overall, you can just go ahead and win a title. I don't think anybody's going to be upset, and I will consider that as a formal apology if you'd be so kind. Just saying.
No. That's what we're looking for. I think we've played more games. Us in Hartford have played more games than anyone else in this league, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to play the most games in the year. That's what best teams do. And I feel like we have a great opportunity to go win the championship. I'm sorry we let you down on the regular season.
I'm sure you lose sleep at night.
We did have a tough schedule, and I feel like the Western Conference is a lot stronger than the Eastern Conference. Sorry I said it, but that's just my opinion. But yeah. We let you down, buddy. Sorry, but we won't on this next one.
You're good. I highly doubt anybody in the East is going to care about the argument between the East versus West until you get to the USL Championship final, at which point in time you're not going to give a you-know-what, because there's 90 minutes separating you from a little bit more glory and history that you've already had in your illustrious career, spending 22 years. 2 more regular season games. Charleston Battery tomorrow night, host Miami on the weekend. You control your own destiny for the number 2 overall seed, tied currently right now with New Mexico United. You have them in tiebreakers. Rodrigo Roro Lopez. Still weird for me to say your first name, as I've always known you as Roro. As I said in the introduction, unreal to have any sort of opportunity to witness you in person and from afar throughout your career. Can't wait to see what the next 6, I said it, games for Sacramento Republic look like this year. That would make them a USL Championship title participant. And certainly, my friend, for great health to you and your family after the world of football on the playing surface and what it brings outside the lines. I wish you and your family nothing but the best of luck, and to you and your boys the rest of the way this season. Thank you for joining us.
Man, I appreciate your kind words and, having me on your show. And yeah, I'll be hearing your amazing voice throughout the years. I'm a big fan of your game calling, and you have so much knowledge for this game. I know that that's going to take you a long way as well, and I always love listening to the games you call. So, my man, we'll be seeing each other soon. Don't worry about that.
Appreciate you, brother. Much love, man.
Thank you.
There goes Rodrigo Lopez, Roro, for everybody that holds it dear to their hearts. I mentioned he's a great human. He's also an incredible liar when he talks about my voice and the respect for my knowledge of the game. Hey, someone has to be, right? You give me the mic. I had to get something in from a comedic standpoint. Again, Charleston Battery midweek, Miami FC on the weekend, Republic. They've been great all year. Roro Lopez has been magnificent his entire career. Is this the year that Sacramento Republic add another star to their crest? We're going to preview the rest of the East and Western Conference games after Mike Watts gets back from walking the cat. Stick around.
You're listening to USL All Access on Sirius XM FC. Here are your hosts, Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
We're back, everyone. USL All Access. It is decision day coming up on Saturday. Mike Watts, Devon Kerr. Let's get you ready for it. Wednesday, there is a game. It's a Jaeger makeup. Sacramento, Charleston. Simplify this. Sacramento holds the tiebreak on New Mexico for the 2 seed. They're level on points. Win, they seal the 2 seed. Lose, and then suddenly Saturday matters. If that doesn't happen, where it's still up in the air, Saturday, there are 3 games with no playoff implications, but a ton of implications for the Wooden Spoon. Charleston, Birmingham, Monterey Bay, Las Vegas. Sacramento and Miami if Sacramento's already won. If not, that'll come down to the last minute. As it pertains to the games elsewhere, Loudoun and North Carolina start the action early. They are playing each other. A win for either could push them to a home game. They spent the entire second half of the year 3-4. They enter 5-6. A win combined with a Hartford or Pittsburgh loss means a home game. Pitt and Phoenix at 7 o'clock. Pitt win and get a home game in the playoffs. Draw, and then the winner of Loudoun or North Carolina could drop them out. Phoenix win plus El Paso loss at San Antonio, and they can host a quarterfinal against El Paso in the 4-5. Draw, they're in. Chaos, lose, plus wins by all four teams beneath them, and they are out of the playoffs. They could play at home next week, or they could be out next week. There's a lot in between. Louisville, Hartford. Hartford win, they get the 3 seed. Loss, they get jumped by Loudoun or North Carolina. And Pittsburgh, they could drop as low as a 5. Rowdies, Detroit, we already covered all the chaos implications of that game. Tulsa, Colorado Springs. Switchbacks win, they can get in as high as 5. They cannot host. Lose, and Orange County or Lexington could jump them, and they could be out. San Antonio and El Paso. El Paso is clinched, but they will play in the 4-5 no matter what. If they win, they get a home playoff game. San Antonio win and in, lose, and again, Orange County or Lexington can jump them. I swear I'm almost done. Rhode Island is in. They cannot host. New Mexico will host a quarterfinal 2 seed if they get more points than Sacramento does this week. Sacramento has 2 games, but they lost the tiebreaker head-to-head in the regular season. Orange County and Indy. Indy, it'll mean everything or nothing. If Detroit drop points, win and in for Indy. They'll know before they hit the field. This happened last year in Orange County. Hartford in the same boat. Hartford didn't get the help. That game was nuts. Orange County, 2 draws against Lexington in regular season. They enter level on 36. Win and they jump as high as 6th. They could jump San Antonio, Colorado Springs, Lexington to get into the playoffs. Oakland and Lexington, same deal as Orange County is dealing with, right? Level on 36 points, win, they could jump all the way over those 3. If Sacramento don't get a win against Charleston midweek, they still need to outperform New Mexico's result for the 2 seed. Otherwise, they're the 3 when Sac plays Miami. Dev, all right, hit it. Who needs home field advantage most of the teams that are capable of going out and grabbing it this week? In the East, that's Hartford, Pittsburgh, Loudoun, North Carolina. In the West, that is everyone who doesn't already have it. El Paso, Phoenix, San Antonio, Colorado Springs.
All right, so I'm gonna start in the Western Conference, and I'm going to say, well, first of all, home field doesn't matter because it's only the top 4 there, right? Mm-hmm. So we're basically talking about Phoenix and El Paso, the only 2 that are capable of getting into that. It has to be El Paso. Phoenix can beat any team in the league on any given day. They're terrible at home. They can also lose to any given team on any given day. They're better on the road. I want to see them. They don't care if they get home field advantage or not. From a financial standpoint, they're going to care. But El Paso, positive goal differential, always better at home. Their form has actually turned around and gotten better away from Southwest University, but El Paso needs home field advantage. In the Eastern Conference, it's North Carolina. 1 win in their last 8 away from home. Loudoun has gotten better. Pittsburgh has gotten better. I'd rather see Hartford play on the road because they are unbeatable away from home outside of the weekend. Loudoun is doing just fine. Ryan Martin has them balanced. North Carolina and John Bradford need the home playoff game if they're going to get a postseason run going.
Devin, Detroit, Indy, Tampa Bay. Who's in?
I can't change it now. I've said it the entire time, the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I know I'm tempting fate. I know there's tiebreakers in there. I'm also rooting for chaos. I didn't ask for it in the West. I'm begging for it in the East. Give me the Rowdies!
Okay, in the West, Orange County or Lexington? Or do we see a Switchbacks or San Antonio fallout?
Oh, my God. I hate dead air. I don't know what to say.
I know.
I don't know what to say. My gut tells me San Antonio's going to figure it out and Mitch Tainter's going to get them in. My heart tells me that what I've seen recently and my IQ, that Lexington's going to get in. Everybody else can figure out their own problems. I got enough on my plate.
All right, Dev, you learn anything?
I learned that my Sacramento Republic wardrobe was deeper than I thought it was because at the end of the day, they're going to walk in. I forgot to change. Here we go. This is the message right now. Let's go.
And I learned that Devin can do his own work in terms of censorship. All right, for Devin, Emmett, Mike, enjoy the final weekend of games. We'll have you ready with playoff previews next Tuesday night here on SiriusXM. Good night.
This is USL All Access. If you missed any portion of the program, listen back anytime on the SXM app.